As most of you know, the reason that Global Sciences was inaugurated 20 years ago was the study of the subject of subtle energies, particularly at that time radionics. Since that time, giant strides have been made in those areas, but we're still in subtle energies because everybody knows that we're all frequency, we're all vibration, we're all energy. Stephen Lewis, who is probably a computer genius, which most of us probably aren't, including me, but has put together an enormous amount of information and material, and he can explain it to you much better than I can. Welcome Stephen Lewis here from the great state of California, and we always say welcome to America, anybody who comes from California.
I won't argue with that, Dean. It's absolutely right. Can you hear me in the back? Is it okay? Pardon me?
Move. Clarence, I'm an early bird. Okay, well get over here where you can see. There's chairs over here. He's what? Who's standing in front of the screen? Oh, he hasn't even started.
I'm trying to put a mic here that'll stay, and I think I got it.
They're getting a mic next to the computer so that it'll
no,
pick up the
so you
sound.
can hear the speaker in the computer.
You're in front of the screen. That's one of the things. Okay, turn when we need the lights out.
All right.
Just tell us we got people with the lights.
Well, okay, I might as well start now. Thank you for having me here. And my field is primarily not computers, as Dean said, but rather it's applied subtle energy physics. And I'm not going to talk to you about physics because if I start talking about numbers, I'll empty the house in a minute. I know that. So instead, I'm going to talk about the only thing I believe that really matters, and in reality, the only message for all of us, particularly now. I heard the tail end of the previous speaker, and I agree. We are in a period of unbelievably monumental change. I want to speak to you about healing. And that means, as those of you who've heard me before understand, I want to speak to you about spirituality. And that means I've got to speak to you about consciousness, because they are a trinity. You cannot separate healing, spirituality, and consciousness, and they, as is true of the entire world, are governed by energy. Now, we all know what EMC squared means. I will talk to you about primarily our EMC squared, not Professor Einstein's. Now, when he wrote E equals MC squared, he made it clear, and it's clear now in every high school physics class, that everything is energy. This stuff here, this table you call matter, it's light that's taking a break. It's just energy. And the light shining in my face there, that's just matter that's in a rush. It's all energy, we all know that, and yet we don't confuse the two. We don't put our plates down on the light, and we don't look to the table to help us read, because there is a distinction. And the distinction is primarily the work of Niels Bohr, David Bohm, many, many giants. Now, EMC squared stands for the Energetic Matrix Church of Consciousness. And what I'd like to do in a very linear, Cartesian, Newtonian manner, tell you exactly what it means. Well, first of all, the energetic matrix, everything in the world is the energetic matrix. Because everything in the world is energy. We all know that now, it's fundamental. But what makes this sea of energy coherent? What makes this wave, if you will, particulate, is consciousness. Consciousness is the fundamental building block of the universe. Now, We call these building blocks consciousness quanta. And everything that I demonstrate today, so I'm going to demonstrate with, I believe, Carla, is that correct? Demonstrate an energetic evaluation. Whatever I show you, every imbalance I show you in Carla, will be in the basis of our work, will be in units of consciousness, which I'm sure all of you know does not exist on the electromagnetic spectrum. So anyway, why are we a church? Simple. Because if we speak of healing, we can't speak of anything other than spirituality. But we're a church that only does one thing. We help you heal yourself. And you can do it. I'm here to tell you about that very quickly. We don't have a stand on circumcision or baptism. Whatever you want to do is fine. We don't accept donations. We don't hold services, because where are you going to hold them? Sanctuary, in reality, in this day and age, has to be wherever you are, each and every one of you. So we can't hold services. We're a church that asks only one thing of you. We ask you to believe you can heal yourself. And you can. You can do it. And I believe I have the credentials to talk to you about healing. I guess there are about 25,000 people who call me a healer. And I am. I assure you, there is nothing in the entire world I cannot heal. Absolutely nothing. Of course, that doesn't help you much, because I can only do it for one person, me. But that doesn't hinder you either, because each and every one of you can do the same thing. Not for anyone else. Each and every one of you can do it for yourself. Only you can heal you. No one else can heal you, and you don't heal anybody else. And this does not denigrate the message of healers in the least. Healers are vitally important to us in our life. But the word is inaccurate. Healers don't heal you. They guide you. They teach you. They inspire you. They kick you in the butt if that's what you may need. Some do. It's different for each person. That's why there are many different types of healers. And if you get the appropriate message from the right healer, you can and will heal yourself. If you wish to say, instead of healing yourself, finding God within you, I have no quarrel with that whatsoever. But you can do it. Now, I'm going to show you something called the QED, and it's how we communicate with the energetic matrix. And we're going to do it with Carla. Carla, are you here? Okay. And we will find, using this QED, imbalances in Carla. We will communicate with Carla's total consciousness. The reason I say, thank you. The reason I say that is because there is absolutely nothing about Carla does not know. Nothing. Now, she may not know it to speak of it, but there's nothing about her she doesn't know. And you will see exactly what that is when I demonstrate this with her. I will also speak for a moment about something called the QID, Quantum Consciousness Imprinting Device. By the way, the QED, as you know, is a Latin phrase, quod erat demonstrandum, which means that which is to be shown or demonstrated, and I'm going to demonstrate it. Our QED is Quantum Consciousness Evaluation Device. Now, when I finish doing an evaluation on Carla, we're going to take her photo and take it back to Santa Monica, to California, and we're going to put it on a series of metal trays attached to a huge bank of computers. And what is going to happen is Carla is going to initiate the process of healing herself. She's going to do it. Now, to explain how this happens is to understand what I consider to be the primary basis of all quantum physics. and that is the holographic principle. And you know, the funny thing about physics, quantum, Newtonian, whatever, it just explains things mathematically. It creates nothing. Hope you understand that. I mean, the idea of the universe being a quantum universe, how new is that? When John Donne said, "No man is an island unto himself," that is a quantum statement. Each is part of the main. And you know what? It wasn't news when he said it. When Jesus said, "You are the light," that's a quantum statement. And it wasn't news when he said it. And whatever Buddha said in the same vein, I'm sure there's something, it wasn't news. It can't be news simply because it's inherent in all people. The understanding that the world is a giant hologram and we all are connected to each other is fundamental knowledge. It's not knowledge there to be learned. It's knowledge there to be remembered because it's basic. It's essential. Now, speaking of the holographic principle, when I speak of what will happen with Carla when I'm back in California, I'm not speaking of the greater hologram, where you and I are all connected to each other and we're all connected to a snowflake in Tibet, but we can't focus on that because it's not in our consciousness. I'm speaking about something called the lesser hologram, the least hologram. By that I mean very simply, any single thing that is part of you or unique to you, excuse me a second, contains every bit of information about you. It contains every bit of information about your mind, your body, your spirit, your past, your present, your future. Anything, whether it's a lock of your hair, a drop of your blood, a fingernail clipping, a photograph of you. Not a drawing, a photograph. Now, this is not so remarkable a statement anymore because if I said to you, look, give me a strand of wool, and I'll take that strand of wool and I'll make a sheep, and I even have a name picked out for my sheep, that's not news anymore, is it? I mean, but let's face it, what if 10 years ago I had stood here and said to you, look, I'll tell you what, if you buy me a meatball, I will turn you into a cattle baron. How many of you would have invested in the meatball? Whether I mean the meatball there or this meatball, either way. And yet, there's a whole herd of cows and cattle in Japan from one cell. That's why a man named Robert Heinlein wrote, any technology which is sufficiently advanced is indistinguishable from magic. And it is. And that's why, as a matter of fact, when I said photograph, everyone here knows that they've heard of primitive people, whether in other cultures or our culture, who will not let you take their photograph. We all know about that, right? Does everyone here understand that there's not a superstitious thing about that? They're not acting out of superstition. And if we call it that, we're calling it out of abysmal ignorance. They're acting out of memory, out of knowledge. They intuitively understand the hologram. They have to. They can't forget it because they haven't left their culture. We have forgotten it because we're travelers, all of us. We're strangers in a very, very strange land. But I'll tell you something. As you will see in the demonstration, I've never even said hello to Carla in my life. I don't know her. As you will see, we have to get back to we have to remember what they remember, because we've got to remember what healing is. So anyway, what I told you is Carla's photograph or picture is going to be put on a bunch of trays, and those trays, the pictures have come up and attached to computers. And what is going to happen is she is going to select every balancing frequency that she needs for every imbalance she has, because everything is energy. Whether it's Carla's hair, whether it's her spleen, whether it's her moodiness, if she is, whether it's her passion, whether it's her anything. Everything is energy. Everything has a frequency. Everything. I'll tell you a remarkable story about that very quickly. Any of you ever hear of a Reverend Michael Beckwith? Yeah, well, Reverend Michael is the head of a church. Basically, he's becoming the head of religious science. And when he came into my office, and I said to him, Michael, you're showing the frequency of hereditary and active malignancy, cancer. He said, where did I get that? I looked to see which parent. He said, no, I know which parent. Why did I have to bring that with me? Interesting question, isn't it? So we took a look to see. What was it? It was an unresolved past life, spiritual/emotional imbalance. Now, I happen to believe that you select your parents for a purpose. I believe in past lives. I don't know if you do, but I do. We looked to see what it was, and it was unresolved embitteredness. You know, Michael and I have gone back over maybe 1,000 different clients of mine, and every single one who had the frequency of hereditary cancer, when I looked to see the cause of it, it was unresolved embitteredness. So then he said, all right, let's find frequencies to remove these unresolved issues. You don't remove these things by reliving them. That's absurd. You remove them because they become conscious. When something comes into your consciousness, you can resolve it and deal with it. So anyway, Carla is going to select the appropriate frequencies from the tray she's on, and she's going to select and select until every imbalance is gone. And when it's gone, she'll stop selecting. And the second a new imbalance enters her energetic field, she'll select again and again until they're all gone, until her life force is 100. I want to wrap up this talk, if I can, because I understand there's a time pressure here. I want to be able to answer some questions. 38 minutes? Thank you. No, that's right, we started late. Thanks a lot. There have been some studies that I consider to be unbelievably far out remarkable. Studies of people with multiple personality disorders. Anyone ever read those studies? Yeah, it turns out these people have far, far greater health, well-being, far fewer chronic diseases than those of us who are stuck with one lousy little persona. Well, that's very strange. I mean, you know, you've always heard people say it helps be a little bit crazy, okay, particularly with our interests here in common. You didn't realize it was good, sound advice. Because when these people are interviewed under hypnosis and asked, why are you so healthy? And at the same time, you're so nuts. What's the secret? And you know what they said? They said, this is under hypnosis, they all say the same thing. They take one of their personalities and give it the full-time, 24/7 job of watching over their energetic field. And the second an imbalance enters that field, they focus and focus. With their consciousness, they direct their life force until that imbalance is gone, until they've healed themselves. So we're going to make Carla, in a way, akin to being a little bit crazy. Because I could use Carla's hair, I could use her blood, I could use her fingernails, I could use her photograph. Anything unique to her is her hologram, it is her. Energetically, it is all of her. Energetically, it will change as she changes. It wouldn't be any faster or slower if I took Carla with me and brought her back to California, had her sit on the trays. It would be the exact same thing. Every imbalance will change. Now, one last thought about that. I concur with what the last speaker was saying in this respect. In times of extraordinary change and crisis, there's a positive and a negative. I believe the positive change is that we are going to lean toward our spiritual values more and more. I mean, lean toward them consistently, not Sunday morning or whatever you're talking about. Not a matter of Sunday morning. I don't care if you use the term life force, chi, prana, it means the same. And at the same time, there will be a crisis. 4 years ago, I was writing a book on subtle energy physics. I found something, decided I stopped writing that book because nobody's going to read it anyway. Who reads books in subtle energy physics? A few people, that's it. And I wrote a book, I don't know how many of you have seen it, Sanctuary, The Path to Consciousness. I wrote a book you could read in about, an hour or two. I did so because I saw what was happening. So I'd like to have Carla come up here, and if you will, please, Carla. And I hope she doesn't fall off the stage. And I'm going to do a quick energetic evaluation on Carla. And when I find something, you have a seat right here, please, dear. Hi. Is this mic on? Yep. Whatever I find in Carla, I will tell you what it means to Carla, and if appropriate, what it means to you. Is there a book or something I can borrow from somebody? Just a book. Something will prop this up. Oh, great. Thanks a lot. Twanged. Sounds good.
Let's try this one.
I think we got it. It'll work.
Okay, good.
Got it. It's crude but effective. Okay, Carla, will you please hold this in your left hand? And let me have this hand. It's a long stretch, huh?
It is.
I know. The first thing I'm going to check on Carla is the only thing I really care about. And that is Carla's life force on a scale of 1 to 100. A life force of 100 is totally unobstructed life force. A life force of 1, well, that's basically dead. Now, technically, it's not dead. Technically, dead is 0, but I would defy anyone out there to tell the difference between 1 and 0 if you saw someone. So, if you can see the screen, the highlighted area is what I'm checking. When it goes to the very top, it means no. And I'll have to get a little range for Carla. Is Carla's life force between 0 and 21? The answer is no. Is Carla's life force between 22 and 33? Carla's life force is between 22 and 27? Nope. Is Carla's life force between 28 and 30? No. 31 and 33? Yes. 31? 32? 33? 2/3 of Carla's life force, if you wish to call it chi or prana, you can, is gone. I will then go over to here and ask a couple other questions about Carla. Good. Good. In short, Carla is not, forgive the grammar, she is not ineligible. That means whatever I find, whatever imbalance I find in Carla will be gone. I'll give you a timetable. Ineligible means she's not ineligible, she does not have the frequency, look at the upper left, of probable early fatality, not have the frequency of organ with irreversibly damaged function. She is not ineligible. Why? How old are you, Carla?
46.
46. Why is Carla at 46, which makes her, compared to me, a child? Okay, well, that's true. I'm well into my 60s. Why is Carla? Why does she have a life force of 33? 4 years ago, For those of you who are interested in chemtrails, 4 years ago, Carla breathed in something, along with everybody else in the country. Sprayed in the air, aerosol. If I had checked Carla out 4 years ago, and you see at the very top, she would have been positive for the frequency of potential immune deficiency. She's not, because her immune deficiency is no longer potential. It has fulfilled its potential. That's a buzzword. Let me tell you exactly what it means. It means that whatever Carla has genetically, hereditarily, whatever frequency she came here with has become wildly, ragingly active. Now, everything that Carla has genetically would become active anyway, with one minor caveat, if she lives long enough. I mean, for example, suppose we have the frequency of hereditary heart disease, and it becomes active in Carla when she's 123. Will you feel cheated? No. No. Okay? You're not that greedy. No. Right. That's the caveat. If you have the frequency of an immune deficiency, within a year, irrespective of your chronologic age, every single thing that is hereditary becomes active. So you're 46. If you were 4, the conversation we're having now would be the exact same, is my point. So let's take a look. As I said to Reverend Michael Beckwith, as I said to Wayne Dyer, it's true of 90% of the world, you have the frequency of both active and hereditary malignancy, courtesy of your mom. Without your father, that narrows it down quite a bit. Courtesy of your mother. What else do you have? Good. That's the toughest to get rid of. You have the frequency of both hereditary and active diabetes, and that would be by way of your father. Could be both. Let's see. Came from your father. Okay? Let's look at one other thing here. This is an acquired frequency as opposed to hereditary and active. It's the frequency of 4 types of acquired active tuberculosis, but I'm making a point of it here because Carla shows it in the area, the orb of her adrenal glands, which means Carla doesn't make adrenaline, which means Carla has the frequency of endogenous depression. It means Carla has to fight being emotionally down all the time. Now, she may have the tools to do it and succeed, but it's a battle she shouldn't be fighting. Because if you don't make adrenaline, it's pretty hard to be up. That's why it's endogenous. If Carla was lying on the beach having every fantasy fulfilled, she'd be having to fight endogenous depression. Do you understand what I mean? Because you still don't make adrenaline. Let's go back to the numbers for a second. Carla's chronologic age is 46. 46 years on the planet in this incarnation. Biologic age refers to, you can define it 2 ways. The age at which your body is functioning, or how old would you have to be to have your hereditary diseases as active as they are in nature. The ideal biological age for Carla is probably 29. Let's see. Because every woman seems to be best at 29. Ideal biologic age, 28. Your ideal I don't know why it's 29 for every woman, but it is. All right, that's your ideal. What is your current biologic age? Well, the good news, Carla, is it's under 94. For those men out there who are looking for a younger woman, forget it. You're never going to find a better looking 92-year-old in your entire life. That is Carla's biological age. In other words, in nature, for her to have what I'm going to find now, in as active a state as it is, she has to be 92 years old. So let's look at both dominant and active. And we'll go to the only thing that could make her life force 29, 28, 29, which was it? 29, and her biological age, 92. And let's prioritize this. The dominant active malignancy frequency in Carla, oops, is the frequency of papillary ductal carcinoma of the breast cancer. If it's there, it's in the uterus. If the frequency of breast cancer exists, the uterine cancer always exists also. And it does. Followed by the frequency of type of skin cancer, followed by that's enough. We don't want her to get greedy. She's got her fair share here. Let's end this on a better note. We'll skip her prostate. Well, but there's more to it than that, because if Carla's picture is on the tray, 2 types in the uterus. The first thing I'd like to do, now let's take a look at this. What's in store for Carla? Carla's life force, hit the wrong thing there. What was it, 33, 29?
29 is first my age.
No, your life force, 33, right? 33. In about a month's time, Carla, your life force is going to be about 90. In 2.5 months, roughly, it'll be 95 to 98. 3.5 to 4.5 months of the outside, your life force will be 100. It's going to stay there. At the same time, your biological age will go from 92 to 29. And your body will function as if it were 29 years old. It'll never be 28 because your ideal is 29. 28 would be less than ideal for you. Does that make sense for you? The frequency that caused the immune deficiency will be gone in 7 to 10 days. The frequency that causes that endogenous depression, a lack of adrenaline, 7 to 10 days. It'll be gone. Okay? The frequency of the active malignancy, active diabetes, etc., will be gone in 2.5 months roughly. Same is true of the frequency of, the cancer I said. Hereditarily, it'll take 3.5 to 4 maybe even 4.5 months. At that time, it will be gone from you to the extent that, do you have any kids?
Grown, yes, one.
One? If you would have another child then, not that I'm suggesting it, if you would have another child, you would not have it in you to pass on that disease frequency. It would be gone from the DNA. Okay? Let's take a look at one more thing about you. Let's ask, what is the dominant, unresolved spiritual emotional issue in Carla? Okay? Embitterness, unresolved embitterness. That will be resolved. Will it be a problem for you to deal with it? Depends how much you resist it. It will come into your consciousness. You follow what I'm saying? And if you don't resist it, it'll be conscious. You'll never have to deal with that again. It does not matter how many times you've had to, how many past lives. You will not. It will show. First thing I'd like to do is ask you to please applaud Carla for having the guts to come up here and reveal herself in front of a bunch of strangers. Let's get a picture of Carla. And I rushed through this a little bit because... Thank you very much. I want to answer any questions you may have for whatever time I have left. 18 minutes? So if you have any questions... Okay, thanks, Dean. All right. Okay. Yes? Is that mic on? See the little button there?
Hello, it's on now.
Okay.
I'm one of the people with MPD, multiple personalities, but they may be because I'm an abductee also. But I have a lot of illnesses because I know I can manifest them. And I
Well-
step into them, I don't realize I've manifested, but when I get through them, then I have another chapter for the book I'm writing, so other people can learn that I'm a role model, and don't you guys do it. Don't think it, don't create it.
Your life force is in the 80s. The average life force in this country, let me give you a little history. 4 years ago, when I found a frequency that I knew was going to be a problem, I decided not to retire to my research, because I can afford to, frankly. The average life force was in the low 90s. A year and a half ago, the average life force in this country was in the 70, 69, 68. As of now, the average life force in the country, when I left the office on Thursday, was 30.2 and plummeting, which is why I'm in Denver in the middle of the winter, very frankly. Your life force is in the 80s. What do you know that we don't know? 80s is not wonderful, but compare it to 33, 30.2, something you're doing. Because I can, as your life force goes up, mine is 100, your consciousness level goes up. I know your life force. Just as I pretty much knew Carla's by looking at her.
Mine is, I am an emissary of life, and I know I'm only realizing it in the last couple of days. I am pure love. I am here on the path of truth. That's all I understand.
What else can you be but that? What other path can you take? Thank you for sharing this with me.
Thank you.
Right. Yes, sir.
Hello, Stephen. I have a million questions. First one's a yes, no. Is Max a fictional character and you invented this?
Max, in the book, I am Max. And, you may have figured that out.
Yes. I did.
The name Max was taken in homage to my first teacher of subtle energy physics, teacher in Philadelphia. And as a matter of fact, he called me about 2 months ago. He had gotten the book, read it, and got on the tray. And it was just a thrilling bit of synchronicity for me. It was just homage to Max because he taught me so much.
The other question is regarding the expansion of the AIM program. How many people are currently on it? You only have one set of computers in Santa Monica, and is this going to grow?
No, we have them in 2 other countries.
How
Okay?
many people are on the AIM program? How do you envision
I
it
would say
expanding?
well over 20,000 now.
And how do you envision it expanding over the next few years?
Well, according to Wayne Dyer, Michael Beckwith, a few others, it has to be millions quickly as is possible. Has to be.
I'm going to join in the next week after listening to your presentation.
Pardon me?
I'm going to join. It's a very impressive presentation today.
How many will join?
I'm going to.
Oh, you're going to. I'm sorry, yes.
in the next
It
week.
has to be millions. I have no doubt about it. There's, you know, I know this can help you heal yourself. Are there other things? I am not presumptuous enough to tell you I have invented healing. I do believe healing is fundamentally a full-time job. That is the advantage of your hologram. You can make it a full-time activity. But yes.
I've told all my closest friends to read this book. It's a very important book. And thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes. Yes, sir.
Stephen, the question is, once a person goes through this program and gets, as I guess we can call it, cleared, a lot of us take supplements. Can you comment, once you go through the program, how do we know what supplements we should still take, and are they doing us any good?
Well, first of all, the answer is not about us. It's about you. Okay? There is no collective answer for anything of that sort. Now, I do take supplements, but I check to see what I need. I also exercise. The point I'm making is you cannot put yourself on the AIM program, on the trays, and absolve yourself of responsibility for your life. I mean, I'm in my 60s. I work out, exercise I watch my diet pretty carefully. I'm not a fanatic. If you read the book, at the end of every day, I have a nice solid shot of tequila. I don't intend to ever stop that. My reward. I deserve it. But you have responsibility. I take supplements. When I was running and I twisted my ankle, I went to an acupuncturist to get the swelling down. You don't give up on everything else in life. It's that simple.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? I can't. The problem is, once again, I'll reiterate this answer. You may need a given vitamin and someone else may not. And generally speaking, if you take something you don't need, you'll just have very, very expensive urine. Nothing to worry about. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, thank you for your wonderful presentation. I'm sure many of us in this audience would like to be on the program and explain how that works, because I'm sure you don't have time to work in each one of us today with the way you worked with Carla, with the equipment and so forth. So how do we get on your program?
The person to speak to is Kim Marie, who's over here, and you can see her during the break. She'll tell you all about it. She'll give you all the information you need. And she's a person, one of many people dealing with Denver. As a matter of fact, Mile High Church is going to be dealing with it also. That'll also be under Kim. So, but she'll tell you about it.
And so when you have like just a picture of us, then you can do the same thing as you did personally with Carla.
I have, of my thousands and thousands of clients, I've met very few of them. They come from all over the world, pictures. And you know what I check? I check the first 2 things I checked with Carla. Life force and eligibility. And that's it. If a person has sufficient life force to overcome his imbalances, they'll be gone. I do not know what anyone has unless it's for a demonstration here. Otherwise, no. They know. And I'll tell you something. If I spent 5 hours with Carla, scratching away, looking at every imbalance she had, instead of just this brief few minutes, I'd still miss something. I'm on the outside looking in. There is nothing about Carla she can possibly miss. She knows everything about her. That's why if her picture is next to mine in the tray, she will never, ever, ever select a balancing frequency for her prostate. It's perfect. Great prostate. I have absolutely flawless fallopian tubes. Okay? I'll never have a problem with it. She knows every single thing she needs to select. And she will do it. I just check if she's eligible. And if eligible means not that you won't get better, it's that we're not totally certain. And we will still put you on the tray if you wish. It will tell you we're not absolutely certain. 10 minutes? Now it's less, right? Okay, question.
Can you tell what my life force is?
To the 40s.
Hello, Stephen.
Yes.
I missed a good part of the beginning of this today, and did read the book though, and the drops that are mentioned in the book, I can't recall what those were.
Well, that was before the AIM program. If you notice in your book, there's a glued-in epilogue. You see that?
Yes.
That's because the book was written before I had figured out the Rosetta frequency. That is a frequency which, as the Rosetta Stone does, translates. Now, the difference is, when I wrote that book, the waiting period to see me as a new client was about 2.5 years. People were told, well, but I've only been given 3 months to live. Well, I'm working 6 days a week, 10 hours a day. What do you want me to do? Okay, I can't work 24/7. But now I can. That's the difference. Before you were dependent upon, as Carla today, what did I find? I would take those bottles and imprint a balancing frequency into them, and you'd get rid of those imbalances and only them. Now you get rid of every imbalance you have. I have made myself, in that sense, totally obsolete. We don't use them anymore. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi,
Yes, ma'am.
I know it's not a total mystery, the statistics.
I'm
that
sorry, I can't hear you.
I know it's not a total mystery, the statistic that you gave about the drop in life force, but when I contemplated it for 2 minutes, I realized it was as radical as a temperature rise with a Chinook wind. And I wondered why such a totally radical drop in such a short period of time.
Why? The drop in life force corresponds to the amount of time it takes for hereditary imbalances to become active enough to exact their full effect. The frequency of hereditary malignancy, once it becomes active, takes about 3.5 years to become. Understand, everything is conscious, okay? We have this anthropomorphic perspective that we're conscious and those things are things. The frequency of malignancy does not make a move until it feels it's strong enough that you can't stop it. So when you have it actively, your life force will be 70, 71, until it reaches that point within you. No one's life force is in the 60s or 50s, unless they're coming back up. In a day, you go from 70 or 71 to the 40s. And then within weeks, you drop into the 30s, and now apparently the 20s. It's a conscious decision. It's that simple.
So is it a mass happening?
Is it what?
A mass happening?
It's a mass happening. 90% of the world has the frequency of hereditary cancer. It's the most prevalent hereditary imbalance there is. Yes.
Forgive me, but I just want to really understand you, but you said in such a short period of time, just since 1.5 years ago, that it's dropped so radically.
Right. Correct. the phenomenon of everybody having a frequency that makes their hereditary imbalances become active all at one time has never occurred before. Understand it. This is not a synchronicity that's ever happened, but has happened now. And I think we should dwell not on that, but on healing, because we can do it. I think we've got to dwell on what we can do, which is the spirituality of it, the healing. You can do it. That is where your focus belongs.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I know that's where my focus belongs, but I'm interested for you to follow up on you mentioned the chemtrails. Now, chemtrails has been something else presented here. Can you please give us a connection?
Yes, every major city is sprayed every night usually between 12 and 4, at between 5 and 10,000 feet. Yes. Bobby? Every imbalance, you will balance. Yes, absolutely. In fact, I checked me this morning to see if Denver had been sprayed, and it was.
So
Right.
then, are you saying then that this drop in the life force is that a specific effect of the spraying, or is there more general?
The drop in the life
relationship?
force is because of the hereditary imbalances having become active, because of the frequency of immune deficiency, which is because of a frequency I found sprayed, which you call a chemtrail, 4 years ago, and sprayed continuously since then.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I think I've got about time for one question, and
What is it that they're spraying?
pardon me, and why?
What is it?
4 minutes? Well, you saw, as a matter of fact, see my screensaver? This computer contains no diseases, body parts, or emotions. You saw what I showed you with Carla. Let's go over to here and go to the viral part of biological warfare frequencies. There's one. That's the one I found in Carla. Hemorrhagic disease, Epstein-Barr, etc. Ebola Sudan is common. Cytomegalovirus all the time. Brazilian hemorrhagic virus all the time. And on and on and on and on and on.
So they're spraying us with viral diseases?
And bacterial. This is just the viral part. Pardon me?
Yeah, why?
I cannot tell you whom for my own safety. Why? We're at war. It's a war. It's not our government. We don't try and kill people randomly, irrespective of their income. That would be stupid. You don't want to kill wealthy people. Who's going to pay taxes? You're being illogical if you think that. Make sense? I mean, if we said only poor people are coming down with this. I mean, look, there have been 2 studies. The incidence of breast cancer in Westchester County and Marin is higher than anywhere in the world. Now, you can conclude from that it's obvious that money causes cancer. And if you believe that, I have a bridge for you. I want to sell you. Okay? They don't study it in Biloxi because nobody gives a damn what happens in Biloxi. It's that simple. They study it, they fund and study these things in areas that are wealthy. And they find it's higher than anywhere else in the world there. Well, no, it's not. It's the only place they study it. This is what's going on. There are things I cannot say for my protection. I have to say that. So,
What is your book and where can you get it?
book is called Sanctuary, The Path to Consciousness. You can get it at the booth right outside. Also, obviously, BarnesandNoble.com or Amazon.com or bookstores all over the place. Okay? I think I should not wear out my welcome here. Let me conclude by saying one thing to you. My work is my passion. And I always end by saying this because I mean it so much. I don't know how many of you have found your life's passion to be accepted by people. It's beyond gratifying, it's humbling. I thank you all so much. It's why I'm working. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much. Now, to let you know, Kim Marie Kipke here is the head of the